Hey everyone, welcome back to another iteration of Tea Time with Tyler and Todd. This week we have presented to you Wells Fargo Championship 2023. Before we jump into that, let's talk about really the takeaways and results from the Mexico Open. So, what are your thoughts on Tony Finau?
That's exactly what we said. Big hitter, let it fly, made some putts. I mean, 24 under, that's 6 a day. And Big Rambo set a course record and just came up shy, but he was there the whole weekend.
Yeah, Tony Finau, very consistent. Like you said, 600 a day average. John went 10 under day 3. That was huge, set the course record. I think that just going into the weekend, Tony Finau had that game plan in mind. He executed it. We called it, as you said. His whole family was there, met him on the green. That was amazing to see. What other takeaways do you have from the Mexico Open?
Well, getting back to your whole thing with Tony, that's one reason I love Tony is like in that Netflix series, you could really see like, golf is lower on his priorities. His family comes first, and then I really respect that out of him. But yeah, and then we said Akshay. I mean, 18 under a lot of the time. I mean, that could get the job done. And we even said 19 to 20 was the number. And you think about the two guys that finished 1 and 2 were 21 and 24. So again, there's that separation of the field when we talk about these are Hall of Fame class players, and then they're great golfers. And it's just these guys have that little extra level. Both of us, 9 out of 10 guys made the cut. So we must have known what we were doing. But yeah, I mean, again, ball flew. The course conditions, there weren't that many bogeys, and it was going to be a birdie fest, which I'm perfectly fine watching that. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we called Akshay. I mean, that was a crazy sleeper call. He was 100 to 1 odds going into it. I think that he's going to be a great golfer.
Oh yeah,
you get a lot of experience, especially playing in the final pairing with the number one.
I don't think he folded at all.
And Tony Finau, no. I don't think so either. He played -1. He played his own game the whole way through. So props to him. He's gonna be someone on tour to reckon with one day. So good job, Akshay. Way to battle. Obviously, good job, Tony. Way to take it home. Now let's jump into the Wells Fargo Championship 2023. We have Max Homa as the defending champion. He won it 2 times, once in 2019 and another time in 2022. What do you think really about the facts and overview of the Wells Fargo?
Well, I think you're going to get a heavy field. This is always a good field. Quail Hollow, I always remember 2 things that come to my mind. Rory won here in 2017. And then I would say definitely Ricky Fowler getting his win here. So I was always like a big Ricky Fowler fan growing up. So when he finally got the job done here, I was like, all right, that's awesome. Yeah, just a major championship style golf course in North Carolina. So again, good weather this week, and yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Really good field.
Yeah, 7,500 yards. It's definitely long. I think it's going to be interesting to see. They call it the Green Mile, number 16, 17, 18. It's a tough stretch. It's one of the toughest stretches of holes on tour. I think that's going to be really fun to watch, not only moving day, but also Sunday when the leader is coming in the final pairing. If it's 1 or 2 strokes separate, you're going to see a lot of different approaches on 16, 17, 18. Then they would take either on a Thursday, on a Friday, or even moving day. So I think that's going to be a big thing to watch out for as not only Sunday approaches, but as 16, 17, 18, that stretch at the end comes through. I think, if you're more starting on 10, going through that stretch first, it might be either
more
a benefit,
of a feeling out process.
Yeah, more of a benefit or a catastrophe, depending on how you do on that stretch of hole. It could shift your whole mindset for the next 9. So depending on what day you play, AM, PM, versus what hole you start on, 1 or 10, I think that's going to play a huge role. Players who suit the course well. We already said that Max Homa has won this twice. Rory has won it more. He's won it a numerous amount of times as well. What playing style do you think suits this course well?
Potentially a major championship, of a former major championship winner. Again, it's never considered a major, but you look at the field, you look at the players that have won just elite level status. Again, they're all elite players, but then you just got some notable names that are there every single week. You got one par five on the front, two par fives on the back. So again, you got three decent scoring opportunities, but then, I mean, a lot of 450 and above par four. So I would say it is going to be possibly like a younger guy that can hit the ball pretty far. Obviously accurate too. But yeah, I got a couple picks up my sleeve and I have a couple validations for him. But yeah, I think it'll be really fun to watch.
I didn't see John Rahm in the field this week. He's not playing, is he?
No, my man needs a break.
Finally taking a rest.
Yeah.
He played in after the Masters just because they wanted to see, and he wanted to defend last week. So, you know, hats off to him for playing that stretch, but he definitely needs a well-deserved break. I think one takeaway, kind of jump back to the takeaways, but watching John Rahm through the course of the week, it was just sad to see him getting so frustrated. I know he's been frustrated this game before, and that kind of makes him great. But man, it's so funny where fans talking, you know, before he even swings, just while he's practicing, and he kind of gets upset at the fans. It's like, you know, come on, you know, a little. I don't know if you heard this whole thing where Tiger Woods and his father used to drop clubs and backswing just to make sure.
Yeah, my buddy and I
mentally, you're going to be stonewall to everyone. I think John Rahm still needs to come around to that.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't want anyone talking my backswing, but it's like, I think some guys definitely take it a little bit further. Like sometimes I'm so focused out there, even just playing like one-on-one with somebody or just, you know, looking at a practice round or something, like I don't really even know what's going on like some of the time. And some guys, like if you move or like, I don't know, that doesn't bother me. Like you can play music. That's why I think again, that whole like live thing, it's they want to get away from all that. So again,
maybe stay for the controversial segment. Expected course conditions for this week. I mean, this weekend is going to be mostly sunny. It's going to be partly cloudy Saturday and leading into Sunday. Sunday is going to be, Friday and Sunday are going to be very similar. Saturday expected a little bit of showers that might have a little impact on how the greens firm out Sunday.
We already talked about really who plays the course well, but
conditions. I mean, it's not specific like we're in Mexico where there's certain types of conditions that people are good at. So I mean, guess the wind is probably the only factor.
Yeah, just with it being longer, holes play even longer, and then of course, you know, if it's a tighter fairway, then your miss only becomes more narrow, and on that course, it's so easy to make a bogey. So again, that bogey could turn into a double, or you could see a higher number on a hole. So yeah, I definitely think that wind plays a big role here, and even like in the President's Cup when it was held in 2022. That was a great event. US absolutely killed it. And then obviously there was that big split between like the US and Europe and live and all that stuff. But it's really cool that I think you're going to see a lot of guys that play well here. I think you're going to see it carry over to the PGA Championship. I think you're going to see a lot of guys that play well here are going to play well on the major. This is probably a really, really good prep. And again, you get to see a lot of notable names in the field. So yeah, and the length of it too.
Yeah, I mean, so let's just.
You want to get up with our picks here?
Yeah, we could get into it. Go ahead.
So I have last year's defending champion Max Homa.
Okay.
He's defending champion. I have to pick him in my obviously 10. Sungjae Im. I've been a Sungjae Im fan for this whole year now, as you know. I think that earlier in the year that you made a good pick, that you said he was really working on the swing and he really showed out for the Masters. He didn't make it into the top 10, but I think Jason Day has been really working on the swing. Ricky Fowler, I'm a Ricky Fowler fan, jumping on his bandwagon. I think that again, as we said in the past, you know, was put on a pedestal really early in his career, kind of unfair in that sense. And I think that he's really figured it out over the last few years, and I think he's going to be a force to reckon with again.
I don't think people understand his success that he's had on the PGA Tour. Success, in my opinion, still comes from top tens. I mean, on top of his sponsorships and all that, Ricky Fowler is doing just fine. And it's sad that sometimes people, oh, he's not winning. John Rahm was the favorite by miles last week. No, he didn't win. He was second, but it's so hard to win. And again, this is not taking credit away from anybody this year and last year who has won without the live players, but the field was even stronger then. You have two main tours. I mean, of course, it's still, again, hard to win a major. It's hard to win on the PGA. It's hard to win on live. It's hard to win on the like Euro tour.
Corn Ferry, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to shoot 4 under every day sometimes. Okay.
And then Tony Finau,
Yeah.
I mean, he just went 24 under. It's hard not to take him.
Gotta think he's a hot hand.
Brian Hartman, I mean, the old guy can still swing a club, can still swing an iron. I think that, you know, that his iron play is gonna suit him well. He's won the tournament in the past, I believe. Victor Hovland is another one of my picks. I've always been hot on Victor, especially this year. Luke List is gonna be one of my, I guess you could call
Dark
him a
horses.
little sleeper dark horse. Rory McIlroy, have to pick Rory. Always gotta stick with my guy. And then Colin Morikawa is my last. And Colin, been picking you for a while now, bud, but you just got to finish on that 4th day or that 3rd day where you put it all together. And those are my 10 picks.
Okay, are you sure you didn't go over 10?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
So I got Jason Day. No, but yeah, I'll shoot you who I got. So I got Jason Day. Again, I think he's fine in form. He's had a little time off, which I don't think is a bad thing. Again, he's won here, I think. But anyways, I think Jason Day won in 2018. Tony Finau, again, gotta go with the hot hand. He's definitely driving it well. Just if he can, again, find the putter, he is gonna be at the leaderboard every week. I like Matthew Fitzpatrick, again, winner this past year. I'm gonna go with Ricky Fowler, again, recent success here. Same with Max Homa and McIlroy. That group was kind of based off of past success. I'm gonna go Jordan Spieth. I think, again, as much as I said that he was not gonna be ready to play the one tournament, I think 2 weeks ago, that dude almost came back and won. And I'm just like, if he is playing, and again, that's that top 5, top 10. He doesn't have a win, but Jordan's played so well this year, which those guys, the patient ones, find success. They stick to their game plan. They don't need to change anything. They might just need to make a couple adjustments here and there. I got Cameron Young. He finished runner-up last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won. My 2 reaches in a good field are going to be Sahith and Justin Thomas. I feel like this could be a breaking out point for Justin Thomas, considering this is when he won his first major title. So again, comfort at a golf course, I think that's what he gets coming here. So again, if you can't find it, like, I think anybody that plays golf, if you're kind of struggling a little bit, I want to go play around where I've had success. I don't want to go play this hard golf course. I want to be like, okay, I can make a couple birdies, you know. I know where to hit the ball. I think his comfort level might bring him back and again groom him for another PGA championship. And then Sahith, he's had such a great young career and almost has had that first win. So I think he'll be at the top of the leaderboard.
I like that. I like those picks. I was actually
Considering Jordan Spieth, it was him and teetering between.
It's
him
tough.
and Colin
And the
Morikawa.
reason I didn't pick Colin, length. Length
You're right,
and
yeah.
success this
This is
year.
a very, very long, yeah.
And I have not seen him play.
I'm just,
Colin
I'm
Morikawa golf.
hoping his 150 to 200 yard approach shots are gonna really help him.
Yeah.
So, cool, awesome. Well, that's done with our picks. Wells Fargo 2023, expect a great field, expect a good turnout.
What do you think the number is?
Oh, under? I'm gonna go slapping the knee jerks at 16. I'm gonna go 15 under.
Ooh, I'm taking that under. 12.
Go 12.
12 under. I think just a nice pace of 3 under a day is probably gonna get the job done. Again, conditions do play a role, But this is definitely, I'm not gonna say like even par's gonna win, but it's got that major vibe where. I think everyone that's even par is gonna make the cut. You might even see a 1 or 2 over cut line. So it'll be interesting to see, but yeah, really good field, great golf course, a lot of history here. Again, has held majors, has held President's Cup, so big time stuff, and it'll be interesting to watch.
Awesome.
Let's get into some controversial subjects and topics here.
All right, love this portion.
What do you want to start with? Floor is open.
All right, what do you think? Let's go with, what do you think the easiest thing is an average handicapper wants to drop? So let's call an 18 handicapper. He comes to you or I and says, how can I get better? Or how can I go from an 18 to a 14 or a 14 to a 10? What are your most important things?
My most important things are reducing your risk, right? I mean, you have, if you're if you're a higher handicap, you really shouldn't be able to shape your shot. So you should have one shot that you typically go towards and one typically shot that you lean towards. So let's say if you typically hit a little fade to a slice,
Lead it right.
I would,
for a right hand.
I would aim it left of the pin. I wouldn't aim it directly at the pin. Most amateur golfers, they aim directly at the pin. I would play my shot shape that I know.
And the thing about that is, and you make such a good point, because I see that all the time. It's like, I'm going right, so I'm gonna go left. Yes, but don't change your swing. Same that, stay on that same swing path, keep the club face, don't turn the club face down more. Do everything the same so it produces that shot. I see so many people that will aim left and then the slice gets bigger and they're like, how? Because the face is now more open. If you can just take that same approach and just move it right over here, that's gonna be fine. It should actually bleed in there for a fade. That's where I think people. A ball shaped shot moving left to right for a right-handed player is what people say more of a cut, more of a fade. Now, can it get a little balloony into a slice? Yes, but that's when it really, I think when you start to lose distance, that's when I say it's a slice. But if you're still hitting a left to right ball and it's moving 10 to 15 yards and you're still hitting it the same number, don't change anything. Again, that just comes down to alignment, but yes.
Well,
I was gonna,
let me
yeah, keep going.
So I think that's one big thing is playing your shot shape, right? That you typically hit. So even if you're looking at a flag over a bunker, most people would say, well, I'm going to try to stay away from the bunker. But if your shot shape is left or right and the pin is behind the bunker, still aim at the bunker. You maybe go a little right of the bunker, but you're reducing your risk because you're probably not going to hit the bunker. They usually fade it or slice it a little bit. Or if you draw it, I mean, probably what you're not going to do is hit it dead nuts straight if you're trying to.
Very rare.
Very rare. So I think that's one big
and
thing.
it's the toughest shot to hit.
It is. Another big thing, especially for people like us that live in northern Michigan, I think it's just accounting for not only reducing your risk, but accounting for some type of win factor. You have everyone can go to the range and hit
and cold
150, 160, 170 in the cold.
We get
in the morning,
we get hit with
are you in the PM, right? So we get hit, like you said, we get hit with both. So if you're in the morning and it's not windy, you're probably going to still hit the ball. It's going to come out a little wet. You're still going to hit the ball because of the dew. It's cold. The ball's not going to come out as far. You're going to lose 5 to 10 yards every single iron versus the wind. If it's 1 or 2 miles an hour, that accounts for 3 to 5 mile an hour wind. So a lot of that goes into just reducing your risk.
And that's the golf IQ of it too. Just knowing what's around you, knowing your surroundings and knowing what you can do. I love your whole point of the morning and afternoon. That does not get talked about enough. You think about anytime you've played in a scramble or anything like that. I know off the top of my head, I know when my longest drives have come mid-afternoon to light, called after work round. I do not hit my longest drives in the morning. It's just natural. You have dew. It's gonna naturally be getting warmer as the day goes on.
Firm out as the day goes on.
And it's gonna firm out. So again, that roll, everything like that, the air is a little bit different. That's a great point. And again, that's why we talk about who's got the morning tee time, who's got the afternoon tee time. I do think normally it is an advantage to tee off in the afternoon. granted that we had the same conditions on like Saturday and Sunday for championship. Usually you see the last 3 round winners. It's hard for anybody outside of those 3 to really come back and win. Unless there's just a low score and like a little kind of a blow up. What was your other point? I
Well,
love.
it's also just building on that.
Oh, knowing the myths. I think so many people, like you said, that bunker thing that I hear and see so many people, oh, there's a bunker. Well, it's almost like the bunker's your target now. You got so involved in that bunker, and that's where people say mentally. And I mean, I do it too. Like, I mean, but see, there's a difference, I think, between assessing and obsessing. I'm not obsessing.
That's a great point.
Over a bunker.
Yeah.
I'm assessing where I need to fly it. It's 55 yards. What can I hit and what can I hit? Is it high or low? I think people, and this is the minimizing risk, play to a bailout. I wouldn't care if you came up, if you thought aiming left and not hitting the green is a better shot, then do that. No one's telling you how to play, especially when you're talking 18 handicap. The guy, let's just say, wants to get down. Hey, my goal is always to break 80. Well, if you can't hit a bunker shot or that, like, and again, that's knowing what you can and can't do.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're pretty fortunate. I mean, we can move it both ways. I've really worked my butt off the last couple of years. Like obviously with shot shapes, but my trajectory. I was actually a high ball hitter, and now I try to just kind of shoot everything in there. Now, I'm not a big fan of the whole swing easy. I do think you can still hit it hard, but then, you know, it's practice. So you got shaffling, you got, you know, taking a club up, but don't really take anything off it. And you naturally get a lower ball flight. I think this was beat into my head at an early age, no 3-putts. I'd love to know the statistics, and I want to go do this and possibly film it, or even just play rounds like this. And you guys should too. See what you guys shoot. Play obviously just your ball down and everything, but once you get inside 8 to 10 feet, give yourself it good. So no matter what, you get that inside 8 to 10 feet. Give it to yourself on one scorecard. And then go proceed to finish. If you make it, great. If you miss it, well, then we're gonna have 2 separate scorecards, and you'll see how critical 8 to 10 feet is.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's either.
I couldn't tell you how many par putts I watched Tony Finau and John Rahm save from 8 to 10 feet
It's incredible.
I mean,
and it's
you think about how many times they didn't bogey and how many times they had those par putts that were just
even Brandon
on the
Wu,
brink.
though. I mean, yeah, he made a couple mistakes. My God, the guy made an eagle, made this putt, and it's just like, I mean, some guys can get hot with the putter. But it is such an important part. That's where it's like, you know, people say, I'll put you at 150, and yeah, it's not in the hole till it's in the hole. That drive is just temporary. Yes, this is super important. I'm big on getting drive into play, because again, if you have a slice or hook and you're not even playing from the fairway and you don't have distance to, that's as much of a problem as 3-putting. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. Everyone talks about, oh, short game. Well, if you're there in 4 or 5, I don't care if you got Tiger Woods' short game, you're still making bogey and double. So we need to go work. Yes, I'm a big believer on, again, how we assess things, green to the tee, but you got to be able to put the tee ball up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, just kind of wrapping up that part, I would say knowing your miss and where you want to miss, right? So what is your most likely shot shape, and know how to play that. I think cutting your putts down, obviously. So if you're 2 to 3 putting, try and wedge it a little bit closer, and leg everything from 40 and 50 feet. Don't try to make them, because then, you put a little extra speed on them, or you get too tentative. That's when you do have the 8 to 10 footers. And really, I want to say PGA Tour averages, I'd say maybe 50-60%, which, I mean, we're talking about the best in the world, and that's the percentage. I mean,
I think it's something that's really helped me out, getting to the fact I play golf league on Tuesday nights at Carrington, and I get there early enough just to practice putts a little bit, just to practice my 5 to 10 foot distance. One of the great golf putting coaches, I mean, he used to have this drill where you take, obviously start on just a straight line, no break yet, but start on a straight line and go 5 feet out, go 10 feet out. If you make, 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5, take 4 or 5 balls, you move on to 10 feet. But until you make 100%, then you move on 10 feet, and then you try to hit 100% on that. If you don't, you reset, you repeat.
the thing I love about that is it's a confidence builder too.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, the thing about, like, you guys have all played, whether it's good or bad rounds, you haven't made anything, but you're playing well. I mean, I've had that where it's like, okay, for my talent, and I'm hitting, let's call it, hole 13, I've hit 11 out of 12 greens, and I'm only 1 under. You're thinking, what's going on? I mean, am I that far away from the hole? When you see putts go down, I don't care if that's why people say in a major, he's got a 5-footer. That 5-footer on the first hole seems like 20, which is huge. You got to bury it, because when you don't see that, it's just like a guy at the free throw line. You don't see that ball going. Again, we've all done it. We've all had success, right? But then it's like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? Then the wheels start turning. And it's like, you didn't have to change anything. Again, it could have been a bad putt. It could have hit something. That's where that short memory does play a factor.
Yeah.
And then when you said minimize mistakes, if you're in the trees and you don't practice it, you got to hit the punch up shot. Now, if you have a lane, sure, but you probably are alluding to limit the hero shots, unless again, maybe a par 5, because again, if you get offline, you still can. But on that par 4, 400 yards, and you hit it in the trees, you got to think, okay, I'm not taking anything more than a bogey.
Take your medicine, punch out.
There you go.
Get in the fairway.
Who knows? You still might get an up and down.
You still might get it up and down for
But
hard.
if you go back and hit that tree and advance it only 20 yards, now it's relative.
Or go backwards.
Yeah.
Like
It's relatively almost impossible. But yeah, you just, again, got to live to see another day.
Absolutely. Cool.
What else
Anything
you
else?
got?
I think that was a good topic.
Oh, I got another good one. If you had to be sponsored by any golf, we're gonna go apparel. What would it be? What is your favorite, and what would you want to be sponsored by?
You know what? It's pretty funny. It's for clubs. I'm a TaylorMade guy, but if I'm walking around, with hat and attire, Under Armour fits me pretty well. I mean, I just love the shirts. I love the pants. I love the shorts. It fits me well. I'm a 5'9" guy, so I'm not as tall as you. So it fits me quite well. I love Under Armour. I like the way that their attire fits, and I don't know. I like Under Armour clothes. What about you?
I think between what our parents grew up in now versus now, it is so much more hip. But clothing, first, I'm proud. I do like Under Armour, but I'll tell you what, Travis Matthews brand,
Has some sick shirts.
from hats to shirts to just like t-shirts and different stuff. Like, I like how they've almost gone where you don't even have to play golf and you have a Travis Matthews shirt on. Like, it just kind of like looks cool, but it is like a golf brand. You see, I think Cantley's sponsored by them. I think there's definitely a few guys that are sponsored by them. And
Did you see the new commercials that came out with Chris Pratt?
no, yeah, it's comfortable. I mean, yeah, everything's pricey nowadays, but I like, the jackets, the vest, pants, the shirt. I mean, again, everything is pretty solid from them. But for me, I do think Under Armour is a good fit too. Again, it's too bad that like Nike's always going to be an elite level brand. but it is kind of a bummer that, you know, they discontinued kind of like the clubs and all that. So like when you say you're Team Nike, it's like, well, I'm Team Nike for apparel, but I play something else.
Yeah.
Club wise though, I like Titleist. I think Titleist is a precision company. I really like the work that they do. Again, I think they've really tried to build off the distance model of TaylorMade. I think TaylorMade is probably, if anyone told me, say, what's the hottest driver or what's the most pop or anything, I think TaylorMade's going to be the longest, which again is great. Might not always be great, but again, there's a lot of things that come into clubs, you know, durability, you know, precision. Again, there's game changer for different levels of golf that, you know, every brand has so much. I think everything, whether we talk about clothes or clubs, everything is so close nowadays where it's like, oh, you play Callaway, it's still a great driver. I mean, from Callaway, I mean, Mizuno's really shot up. I have Shrix on irons. I mean, I couldn't be more happy with them from a distance and precision, because sometimes for me, I want to make sure that, you know, if I do go to like more of like a blade style, that can I still get my distances? Because I don't want to sacrifice distance, because that's probably an advantage I have. I want to be able to hit the 9-iron, you know, that 170, 175 number. I don't want it to become, well, it's got to go 160 to be straight. Well, then you got to retool everything. I play like a mixed set, so I go right in between a Callaway and a Titleist driver. Hybrid Titleist. We got Shrix on irons and Foki wedges. And then I think the last segment, and it's just going to be a personal preference. And again, you guys comment whatever you guys want to do there. Please comment. Let us know what you guys, whether like to play or anything like that. But blade or mallet?
Oh, I mean, so I went mid. I used to be a mallet putter. I used to have that Spider X Tour putter, the DJ putter, and I honestly went to a Scotty Cameron mallet, and I could not hit a mallet anymore. So then I changed back to my old blade, and then I ultimately went and got fitted and changed to a whole new grip, which I was having a lot of yips with my left hand. So now I'm an arm lock.
Yeah.
I went to the old oh my gosh, Kuchar. I went to the Kuchar. I mean, my arm lock grip is completely different than Kuchar. Kuchar grips with his arm lock with his right arm. I arm lock.
Yeah, you go left hand lock.
But I mean, I think that
it's a comfort thing.
Completely changed my whole perspective in putting. But I used to be a mallet. Now I'm kind of mid.
Yeah. I've used both. I think for me, and again, I don't want to be biased, I love milled faces. My speed control with a milled face is 20 times better. I've tried to kind of go back and forth. I think a big thing that's really underlooked in the putter is the grip. Whether it's your grip yourself, so, you know, going conventional, going reverse overlap, all that stuff, that's great. Get a grip that fits your putting. You know, you can have a mallet, you can have a blade, but get something in your hand where it's like, okay, this is stable.
This feels comfortable.
This feels comfortable. And when you look down on it, you know, that's where I think the look of it for people, it's like, they just don't like the look of a mallet. They don't like the look of a blade. That's where I think people, you know, Callaway's got a different face. Everyone's kind of got a different thing that appeals to them. It's not right or wrong. It's, you know, that's why there's different companies is for, you know, aesthetics.
Absolutely.
But I'm a big fan of the milled face, and I'm rocking the Scotty blade right now. It's just sometimes I feel like mallets, if you play a fast course, the heavier they are, it's almost kind of like the more hit they got. You got to sometimes be really soft with your hands. I think for us, we get a lot of slower greens. So, hey, I know guys can switch their equipment all the time, but I think at least for up here, I'd rather have a blade where I think it can travel well, and if I have to hit putts a little harder, I can. For me, I think speed is more important than a line, because if I miss my line, but my speed's good, I'm going to be, so, okay, what, putt breaks 2 feet? All right, I got 2 feet. If my speed is really good, I'm gonna be right around the hole. Now your line, I've seen guys, you know, you've been with guys blow it 15 feet by, have a 60-foot leg putt. Oh my God, you got 18 feet left. See, to me, speed trumps line.
Absolutely, every day. Cool, man. Well, awesome.
Way to wrap things up. Everyone, comment, like, subscribe. Everything that what is your favorite? Do you like ballades? Do you like mallards? Do you like milled faces? Anything else?
No,
As always.
go under, stay under. Thank you guys.
See you.